Well, good evening everybody, it's Zero and welcome back to another History Buff Reacts video, and this one is Simple History, the U-boat sunk by a toilet flush. Yeah, I don't know where this is going, but I quite like it. First things first though, I would like to apologise for the lateness of this episode. What happened was that I recorded it. I had to use two recording programs for this, one for screen capture, one for my face cam. And it broke. One of them broke, and I had no audio. So that's fun. Also, apologies for the lateness of the Weird and Stupid History video. That'll be coming out by or on Friday. I'll be having some issues with it, and to be honest, I haven't really been feeling myself the past few days. I feel a lot better today, but the past few days I've been a bit sort of off. So I'll be getting back on that pretty much as this video goes out. I'll be getting. So don't worry, it will be coming out this week. But anyway, you're not here to listen to me ramble. You're here to me. Yes, here to me. That's what I went to say. You're here to watch a history buff reaction. Let's go.
This episode is brought to you by World of Warships.
World of Warships.
The game is free to play with the
Not
perfect
bad game,
balance
actually, to be
of
fair.
action
Not
and
bad game.
strategy. You can command a massive naval fleet featuring some of history's most iconic war
We're just gonna
vessels.
skip this. We're good to go? We're good to go. Perfect.
The U-boat sunk by a toilet flush. Strange stories of World War II.
Alright then.
On the morning of April 14th, 1945, U-1206, one of the last German U-boats to be commissioned, was cruising at a depth of 200 feet, just off the coast of Scotland, about 8 to 10 miles from Peterhead in Aberdeenshire.
That's close. That's really close. Why was it that far north as well? Interesting. Okay.
The submarine was on its first combat patrol and had launched just 8 days prior to this from the Nazi-occupied Port Christiansand in Norway,
That's
under
massive.
the command of 27-year-old Captain Lieutenant Carl Adolf Schlitt. The crew's mission was to seek out and destroy American and British convoys in the North Atlantic. They had been experiencing a few difficulties, such as the U-boat's diesel engines not operating correctly, forcing it to run on battery power, so the crew were busy making repairs.
Battery power on U-boats was more reliable than diesel power, but it did not last long. The batteries were huge, and they had a really bad habit of discharging, if I remember correctly. Actually, no. Cancel that. I don't think that's true. They were reliable, but yeah, they just didn't have much charge on them. So running a submarine on battery power only is risky. Like, really risky.
What happened next can arguably be considered one of the strangest demises for a vessel in naval history. To fully appreciate the story, a little information on the complexity of submarine toilets is necessary.
True.
High external pressure when the vessel is submerged means that waste can't just be dumped into the sea. British
True.
submarines of the time got around this problem by having septic tanks on board, but these came with their own set of problems, taking up precious space and adding weight.
Yeah.
The Germans opted for a different method, one that could expel waste directly. Unfortunately, this only worked while they were either close to or at the surface. This meant that during a deep dive, the crew of a U-boat had no working toilet and were forced to relieve themselves in open buckets.
Nice.
Despite the obvious unpleasantness, World War II submarines were not known for their delightful aromas, even at the best of times. However, this wasn't too much of a problem during the early stages of the war. The Allies' ability to spot and hunt down U-boats was not particularly effective at this time, meaning that the vessels could surface regularly. As the war progressed, this began to change, and the U-boats were forced to spend increasing amounts of time submerged in order to avoid detection.
Yeah.
The toilet situation had to change.
I can't remember the exact method. Most of it was they developed a sonar system that was really effective at picking up U-boats and submarines. I believe in the early stages of the war, obviously they didn't really have much of a sonar system because they weren't 100% sure how to detect U-boats with it. I believe they may have had some prototype sonars that were not quite reliable enough to be used. But yeah, by the end of the war, I mean, they got it down to an exact science, and these U-boats could be picked up for miles. So yeah, they had to stay submerged. In the early stages as well, they were able to basically rise to the surface and attack from there, because they just had no way of detecting them. They had spotter planes, but the spotter planes weren't... Once a submarine goes down below a certain depth, the spotter planes can't see. So they could only really pick them up if they were close to the surface. So obviously if it was submerged at the early stages of the war, there was basically no way to detect them, which is why they were so effective.
To solve the problem, the Germans developed a new high-pressure toilet system, which could be used at depth.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the system was extremely complicated to use and required specialist training. First, the toilet directed human waste through a series of chambers to a pressurized airlock. Then the deep-water high-pressure toilet blasted the human waste into the sea with compressed air, like a poop torpedo. A specialist on each U-boat received training on proper toilet operating procedures.
Sorry, hang on. I'm trying to get over this from the first time I said it. Specialist training to use a toilet. What? It's something that just... Imagine if you had to go somewhere and you had to be specially trained for a few weeks on how to operate a toilet. You'd be thinking, what the hell have I got myself into? I know I would be.
There was an exact order for opening and closing a series of valves to ensure that the flush operated correctly.
Okay.
This officially trained in how to flush the toilet specialist was called a WC Waste Disposal Unit Manager, who was also known among the crew as the man. Back to the morning of April 14th in the ill-fated U-1206. It should be noted that there are actually two versions of the events that unfolded that day.
Okay.
The first of these comes in the form of Captain Schlitt's official report. He claims that he was in the engine room when he was told that there was a leak coming from the front of the boat, and that he later learned a mechanic had attempted to fix the outboard vent of the forward toilet, which had ultimately failed.
Okay.
The second, and by far the most popular version of events, goes as follows. A submariner, according to most accounts Captain Schlitt himself, had to answer a call of nature, and when he was done with his business, attempted to use the complicated flushing mechanism by himself. When he was unable to make the flush work, he called in the specialist, who unfortunately misjudged the situation and failed to operate the valves in the correct order. Whichever version of the story is true, the end results were the same. A failure in the toilet system resulted in sewage and seawater flooding into the vessel in such large quantities that it came into contact with the submarine's batteries, which were located just below the toilet, causing a chemical reaction which released deadly chlorine gas into the air.
Oh.
And to make the situation worse, the U-boat's bilge pumps malfunctioned. Despite their proximity to the coast and the likelihood of being spotted, the situation had become dire enough that Captain Schlitt was forced to order the U-boat to surface, in the hope that they could successfully vent the gas. Unfortunately for the captain and his men, this was not to be. They very soon came under attack by the RAF, who were able to do enough damage that the U-boat was utterly disabled. Unable to either dive or maneuver, and realizing that the situation had become hopeless, Captain Schlitt threw his codebooks overboard and ordered U-1206 to be scuppered. Out of the U-boat's crew of 50 men, 4 didn't survive the incident. 1 man lost his life during the RAF attack, and the other 3 as they attempted to make their way to the Scottish coast. The remaining 46 crew members were captured and held as POWs for the rest of the war. This didn't prove to be very long, as just 16 days later, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker in Berlin, and 8 days after that, the Nazis surrendered, bringing an end to the war in Europe. As for Captain Schlitt, he survived the war and passed away in 2009 at the age of 90. U-1206, however, still rests at the bottom of the North Sea.
That'd be quite an interesting diving spot, I think. Wow, okay. So, of course, as all these things, you know, there's 2 versions of the event. You decide which one's true, but I like the idea of the captain shitting and getting it wrong. Just a powerful war machine that probably costs hundreds of thousands of marks. I don't know for sure. I don't know how much a U-boat costs, admittedly. Destroyed by a toilet malfunction. Oh, God. That's going to be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to press those like and subscribe buttons, and also hit that bell so you know when I upload. If you want to see some more videos, check out over here. You will see the most recent video apart from this one at the top there, and down below that you will see the whole History Buff Reacts playlist of all the History Buff Reacts videos that I've done on this channel. I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.